Why, when you get saved, of course we get all enthusiastic and we want to show the Bible and everything to everyone. But what you need to do is be a living witness. Let them see the change in your life. And eventually they'll come to the conclusion, you really changed since you got saved. You really have a peace about you didn't have before. And then they may be open up, okay, to come to you when they have something going wrong with their life. You understand what I'm saying? We make a mistake so many times of going to a person too soon, and then what winds up happening is that if we don't get certain things right and we fall back, guess what? Then they say it wasn't real. And guess what? They were looking for something that was real. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so that's why it's important. Go to your kids. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. You may be sometimes perfect in that kid's eyes. Okay, they may put you on a pedestal, a big high pedestal. But if you fall, guess what? That's a whole lot for them to see. So we are human. Guess what? Let's study this together so we both know what it is we do. You keep me in check and I'll keep you in check. It's a mutual understanding that we have that we're going to walk this thing out together. That's why it's so important to study with your children so that you hear the word of God. The worst thing I hate, and let me tell you something. You go into a church, the church does what? Separates the kids from the parents. Okay? You don't know what's going on in that classroom. Okay? And also the benefit of once again bringing both groups together for a certain time frame is so that they both get the lesson together. You know Kwame will hear such and such. These kids act like they sleeping and they recording mentally every single word that is being said, because you know if you stray one bit, well, pastor said such and such, and you thought they were sleeping. You understand what I'm saying? These kids, they listen and they retain and then they watch. They're always watching to see. And while they may not say, it equally gets recorded in their mind also. That's why I say we humble ourselves and say, guys, we were not perfect. We did some things that were wrong. We were ignorant. But we're going to do better because God is showing us day by day what it is that we have to do. So even if it is, once again, a family member, I hear all the time, well, I had to do it because my kid, now both of you in trouble with God. Okay, how am I supposed to pray? Because you willfully, okay, did something violation. The only thing that I can ask God now is, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy. Because when we willfully do things that we know there are consequences for, and then we get back, I hear people all the time say, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to ask for forgiveness later. Don't think that that's going to work. It's not going to work because you are willfully doing something you know God said no. And you set in motion, not only for yourself, but for your descendants. Okay, so important. Chapter 13 is important. Let's go to verse number 13. If you hear it said of one of the towns that Yahweh your Elohim has given you to dwell in, that some scoundrels from among you have gone and subverted the inhabitants of their town, saying, come, let us worship other gods whom you have not experienced. You shall investigate and inquire and interrogate thoroughly. If it is true, the fact is established, that abhorrent thing was perpetrated in your midst. Put the inhabitants of the town to the sword. Put its cattle to the sword. Doom it and all that it is in it to destruction. Let me tell you something. So in other words, I'm a God-fearing town. And people come into my town, okay, and bring some mess with them. Okay? And I'm supposed to just allow them to do certain things that are contrary to what I know God said needs to be done? Oh no, that's not what the Word of God says. The Word of God says you're supposed to deal with the inhabitants. In fact, he said put them to the sword, okay? Get violent with them. See loud in this for a moment. Okay, I only have to tell you where I'm going with that. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, no, you're not going to come in here with your false doctrine or whatever it is you want, and I'm not going to stand idly by and allow you to spew your venom all over where it is I have to live. Okay, and they do it a lot of times in the name of their God. That's why I love Pastor Millie. Pastor Millie will tell you in a heartbeat, okay, you go ahead and pray to your God, and I'm going to pray to mine. Okay, learn that. When people come to you with craziness, go ahead, you can go ahead and pray to your God, and I'm going to pray to mine, and we'll see which one comes out. Okay? You understand that? All right? So, verse number 18. Let nothing that has been doomed stick to your hand, in order that Yahweh may turn from his blazing anger and show you compassion, and in his compassion increase you, as he promised your fathers on oath. For you will be heeding Yahweh your Elohim, obeying all his commandments that I enjoin upon you this day, doing what is right in the sight of Yahweh your Elohim. Okay, let me tell you something. Go against the constitution of this land, and you have committed a law worthy of what? A deed worthy of death. Committed treason against the Constitution. That is why it's so important we study constitutions, treaties, and covenants. Okay, because when someone comes in to violate that, it gives you, always remember, a gate. Okay, gates are places where decisions are made, and all who enter in must abide by those decisions. If they do not abide by those decisions, you have the right to remove them. Okay? You have the right to remove them. This is why we get so far away from God, we don't understand. There are certain liberties that we have. All right, now, he goes on chapter 14. Okay, he talks you not to gash yourself, shave the front of your heads because of the dead. Remember, the pagans used to do certain things whenever somebody died. They'd be cutting themselves, shaving their head. He says you don't do that to celebrate the dead. Why? Because you are a people consecrated to Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim chose you from among all other people on earth to be his treasured people. See, if you don't know, this is what God is saying about you. You are a treasure. Listen, you don't treat 18-karat gold the way you do costume jewelry. Costume jewelry, guess what? You may throw that in a drawer. 18-karat gold, you go buy one of them chests, okay, and put that very nicely in. Okay, somebody say, I need a pair of earrings. You don't necessarily go to that chest. You may go to that drawer where you threw all that costume jewelry. Why? Because they may not value your stuff the way you do. Now, here's a hot channel too. When people come into your home, all right, your home is your sanctuary. People who do not value your home, don't invite them back. Okay. Now, another thing. People will only value your home the way they see you take care of your home. You understand what I'm saying? And they will put that judgment also on you, very subtly. So when people come into your home is your sanctuary. You value it and you teach others to value it. Doesn't have to be perfect. You understand what I'm saying? But when someone enters that door, they're entering into a gate. There are rules when they enter into that door. You understand? All right? Even if they are a guest, there are rules, okay, of that. You don't let people violate your home because your home is your sanctuary, and especially when you say, God gave me this. So people who don't value God will not value the things God gave you. But if they see you value it, then it sets up a standard, okay, for them. So just remember that. All right. Now, here was something that disturbed me about chapter 14. This is my bat mitzvah portion. In this chapter 14, it has all the dietary laws. What if I had been brought up with the dietary laws? A lot of things would have been different with my health. I would not be fighting certain things health-wise if I had known the dietary laws were part of who God said I'm to follow. You understand what I'm saying? These were things enjoined upon me. Okay. So the dietary laws, and I'm not going to go through, all of these right now. So you get a chance, read chapter, definitely read chapter. I might as well read some of it. But you shall not eat anything abhorrent. Who determines whether it's abhorrent? God does. Why can he determine whether it is abhorrent? He made it. Listen, God not only created it, but he knows why he created it. And he knows what he created it to do. So therefore, there are certain things he defines as abhorrent to his people. Now guess what? If you're not his person, go ahead, knock yourself out. All right? But knock yourself out knowing that God says this is an abomination for his people. Okay? That's why you can go in and you can see certain things and whatsoever. Don't get upset. Because these laws determine who's his and who isn't. You pray to your God, you bless that food in the name of your God, and I will bless mine in the name of mine. Okay, you understand what you're saying? Because we did bless certain things that God said we were not supposed to eat. So you bless them in the name of your God, and I will bless mine in the name of mine. All right, I'm not fighting with anybody anymore. Okay, these are the animals you may eat: the ox, the sheep, curry goat made by Pam or Amanda. Oh, that's not in there. Amanda made some curry chicken last night, by the way. And the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roebuck, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, the mountain sheep, and any other animal that has true hoofs which are cleft in two and brings up the cud, such you may eat. Okay, so he's not cutting a lot away from you. There are a lot. You can even go hunting. Even if you are a hunter, he tells you what to look for. If it has the cloven hoof and brings up the cud, you can eat that. But the following which do not bring up the cud or have true hoofs which are cleft through, you may not eat. So they may have cleft hooves, but they do not bring up the cud. Or if they bring up the cud and do not have hooves, you don't eat them. So either or. So he goes on to say the camel, trust me, I have no desire for no barbecue camel. Okay, the hare and the daemon, for although they bring up the cud, they have no true hoofs. They are unclean for who? For you. Also the swine, for although it has true hoofs, it does not bring up the cud and is unclean for you. You shall not eat of their flesh or touch their carcasses. Now, very interesting. And this is something that I really, really have to study. All right. I was listening to a medical program. You know that if you need, say, a heart valve replacement, they can actually use the heart of a pig to do that. Okay. There are, and in this particular thing, the animal which is most anatomically closest to a human is a pig. They can replace certain even organs, okay, and use that pig's organ because it is the closest molecularly to a human. When you are eating, okay, pig, you are eating flesh the consistency of human. They can replace organs in your body. And I don't understand why, how that is. See, people will tell you man is closest to what, a monkey? But you can't do that. The apes, you can't do that with them. The closest thing that is closest to you on the inside is a pig. What does that tell you? All right? And what's amusing, having cloven hooves, it is if they are saying, see, I'm holy just like you. Okay? But they don't chew the cud. Understand something. There is a reason for that, and that's one of those things, God, I hope one day you will explain that, okay, to me. Why so? Always remember, when we eat these things, God, okay, has a specific purpose for that animal. You better know how that animal and why he was made before you consume it. Otherwise, you may be sucking up the contents of your vacuum cleaner or your toilet bowl, okay, and not understand why you get sick. Go ahead.
Because our mouths spew good things and
bad things. Yeah,
out of the same opening.
That's it. That's it.
That we're evil.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now he goes on, verse 9. These you may eat of all that live in water. You may eat anything that has what? Fins and scales. But you may not eat anything that has no fins and scales, for it is unclean for you. One of the reasons, fins and scales, okay, fins can move things through the water. Scales can protect it from what's in the water. That's why during certain toxic spills, they will send catfish. They will unload the catfish. Because catfish, because they have no scales, they can absorb the toxins that are in the water. The purpose of a catfish is to keep your rivers clean. Okay? That's what they're for. The purpose of your shrimp, your crabs, your all of that are to keep your seas clean. Crayfish, your rivers, all of that, they keep them clean. Like I said, a catfish is the equivalent of a toilet bowl sponge. Trust me, I got some cooks in here. I'm going to look at where you're getting your food from, all right? All right? Because that's the equivalent of what they were supposed to do. So God created them, and they are good. We used to eat them with butter and all that. Come on, they were good back then. But they weren't food. Okay? All right? All right? Just because we do certain things. But here's what I also learned. They are not food for you if you are His. All right? This is a big secret. Okay? If you are His. Because He guarantees to keep you healthy in all of these things if you obey this. But there are certain things that we know that if you get certain conditions, the doctor immediately tells you, don't eat them. You have high blood pressure and all that, don't eat pork. High cholesterol, don't eat shrimp and all of that. Why? Oh, God is really smart, okay, and said not to eat those things in the first place. Do you think God knew that they potentially could bring disease in us? Why? Because those things are meant to harbor diseases. And when you eat them, just like once again, eat a pig. You look at pigs. Pigs eventually die a lot of times of their own because they become so toxic. Remember, they do not sweat. Therefore, every toxin is stored in their fat. Oh, we like the greasy collard greens. Okay, come on. Okay, they have a what do you call it, in their foot, okay, that moves toxins through it, waste materials, okay, through it. Yet we used to eat pig's feet all the time. Chitterlings, things like that. Okay, what are those pig skins? Chicharrones. Okay. Well, we did all of that, not understanding we were eating the most toxic part of the animal. That animal was meant to carry over 300 degrees and diseases, rather, and still be healthy. Forget about killing tapeworms, guys. You can nuke those things, and they will still live. As a matter of fact, okay, one of the diseases from an infection of the trichinosis worm is hepatitis. There's a whole lot of hepatitis going around here, okay, in Florida, okay, and a lot of people didn't know it was because there is infected pork. Just do a little experiment. Joe, go get you, hold on 1 minute, pork chop or whatsoever, pour some Coke, soak it in Coke, and watch those worms come out of it. Go ahead.
Same thing with alcohol. You can do the same thing with rubbing alcohol. Pour it over the pork and the little worms will come right up out of it. Yeah. Okay? You need to do that. Okay? We had a kid, once again, do that as a science, and you're doing a science experiment or whatever, do that a couple of times, okay, so that you get it, you see it work, and all of that. Take that for a science project. Trust me when I say, you see those worms coming up out of that meat? You ain't going to eat it. In fact, you may get so sick because of all the meat that you did eat, okay, from the past, that you didn't know that those, let me tell you something, they can withstand your stomach acid. You eat it, it comes out. Next thing you know, you got problems, parasites in your gut, parasites in your brain. Okay, that is one reason why the first thing we do for health
is a detox, okay, to cleanse the liver, cleanse the parasites out of you. Full of parasites, guys. Okay, very important. Fatty liver and all of that. We're full of parasites, okay, from our past, okay, experiences. So that's why I recommend to everyone, the first thing you do when you decide to get healthy, our detox. Okay, our detox program, 7-day, and then that 30-day. Okay, and then there are some other things like the diatomaceous earth. Okay, you want some of that to eat that because that goes in and cleanses the colon. So there are things that we can talk about, okay, with that. So anyway, he goes on, you may not eat anything that has no fins and scales. It is unclean for you. You may eat any clean bird. The following you may not eat: the eagle, the vulture. Hello? God says, I bear you on wings of eagles. Okay? An eagle is an unclean bird. It has a purpose, but it ain't food. The vulture, buzzards. Okay, do you notice? I've seen dead buzzards. How come nothing will eat a buzzard? Nothing, because why? They're so toxic. No animal will eat a buzzard. Okay? And of any variety. Every variety of raven, the ostrich, nighthawk, seagull, the hawk of any variety. Remember, they are rats with feathers. That's what we call pigeons. Rats with feathers.
The door.
Can someone get the door? I think that's Dr. Latour too. Okay? The little owl, the great owl, the white owl, the pelican, the bustard, and the cormorant. The stork, any variety of heron, the hoopie, and the bat. I think we may have 2 more chairs there. Can we bring, here's a chair here and another chair over here. All right. Come on in. Come on in. We need 3 chairs. Okay. All right. Now, verse number 19. Welcome. Come on in. Yes, let's bring the chairs out there. Okay. All right. Do we have one more chair that we can bring? Oh, she got it. Okay. All right. All right, and we could even bring some chairs from outside. Okay, from outside. Brad, do me a favor. When after you finish, swing the camera around, let everyone see. Okay, who's in? Yeah, bring a couple chairs. Those chairs over in the corner. They can come down there. All right. We are in Deuteronomy 14. Deuteronomy 14. Someone keep me on task. What time is it?
It's about 40. Yeah,
really? Yeah. Wow, how time flies when we're having such fun. Okay. All right. Deuteronomy 14. Okay, once again, verse number 19. All winged, swarming things are unclean for you. They may not be eaten. You may eat only clean winged creatures. All right. Now, verse number 23. You shall not eat anything that has died a natural death. Give it to the stranger in your community to eat, or you may sell it to a foreigner. Why? For you are a people consecrated to Yahweh your Elohim. Okay, now, a cow is kosher or clean, right? But not if it died a natural death. So there are even things that are kosher that become unclean for you. Remember, he says you are a people that is consecrated to God. So he says these things you eat because of you are mine. If you are not mine, knock yourself out. Just like Pastor Millie says, you pray to your God and I will pray to mine. Okay? So there are things that he says, if you are consecrated to me, these are things you will put in your body. All right? Leviticus, once again, says, and let's go to that chapter, and let me tell you why it's important to understand that spiritual principle behind that. Okay? Leviticus chapter 11, okay, is the dietary laws. I'm going to go towards the end of that chapter. Okay, towards the end of that chapter, starting in I'll start. Let's do chapter 12 first. I'm sorry, not chapter 12. Chapter 11, verse 12. I just want to go over this. He goes to say, everything in the water that has no fins and scales shall be an abomination to you. In that chapter, he starts talking to you. This is an abomination for you. Okay, verse number 10. Hold on. Let me read that whole verse. Verse number 10. But anything in the seas or in the streams that has no fins and scales, among all swarming things of the water and among all the other living creatures that are in the water, they are an abomination for you, and an abomination for you that shall remain. You shall not eat of their flesh. You shall not abominate their carcasses. You shall abominate their carcasses. Everything in the water has no fins, that has no fins or scales, shall be an abomination for you. That is the strongest word in the Bible. The following, verse 13, shall be abominate among the birds. And he tells you all about them. He goes on, verse number 23. But all other swarming things that have 4 legs shall be an abomination for you. He goes on and down to verse number... Let's see here. 41. Verse number 41. Chapter 11, verse 41. All things that swarm upon the earth are an abomination. They shall not be eaten. You shall not eat among all things that swarm upon the earth. Then he goes on. Okay, I might as well read it. Anything that crawls on its belly, anything that walks on all fours, or anything that has many legs, for they are an abomination. Verse 43 is key. You shall not draw abomination upon yourself through anything that swarms. You shall not make yourself unclean therewith, thus become unclean. Why? For I, Yahweh, am your Elohim. You shall sanctify yourself and be holy, for I am holy. You shall not make yourself unclean through any swarming thing that moves upon the earth, for I, Yahweh, am he who brought you up from the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. You shall be holy, for I am holy. Peter repeats that. You are holy people. He goes on. Now, the key verse, verse 43. You shall not draw abomination upon you. You mean, I put unclean here. What does it do? It makes you unclean. And what does it do to it? Draws. You become a magnet. It attracts. Always understand. Unclean things in, unclean things will come out. Unclean things in, you'll do unclean things with. You understand what I'm saying? That's why Yeshua goes over to the land of the Gadarenes. The man is there what? In a tomb. He's naked. He's cutting himself. He's with the swine. How many realms of uncleanness are they? Cutting himself. Remember, we just read, you don't cut yourself. Blood. He touches blood. He's unclean. Okay. He's in the tombs. He's unclean. He's naked. He's unclean. He's, okay, in the midst of the swines. He was a wild man. What do you think he was probably also doing? Okay. Killing and eating. Okay, the swine and everything. And first of all, it was the land of Gad. What were they doing? Raising pigs. Okay, in Israel. That was one of the Israelite lands. They were not so. So all of these drawing the realm of the unclean to him, he had legions. What is your name? Okay, legions. Okay, legions. Now, do you think when he cast them out, why did they go into the swine?
Because they were unclean.
They were unclean. What are swine? Unclean. What was he? Unclean. Unclean did what? Drew uncleanness towards it. And guess what? The swines decided, hey, we're going to take a mikvah. Okay? And ran and jumped into the sea. Okay? Sea, once again, is an icon for groups of people and people groupings. All right, so that is just one of those little things to understand. So you can draw the realm of uncleanness upon you by what you put in your body, physical body. If you take unclean things in your physical body, you will accept unclean things in your spiritual body. Okay, he will draw the realm of uncleanness towards you. That's why he says, don't do this, because you are holy. I am holy. You are my people. You can give now in chapter 14. He goes on and says, you can give this thing that died a natural death, give it to the stranger in your community. So many people have a problem with that. Why should we give it to the stranger? Remember, the criteria he's talking for are his people. They aren't. But once they become his people, guess what? They follow these laws. You understand what I'm saying? So he defines his people by what you put in your body. He defines his people by what you do with your body. He defines his people by the holy days that they worship. He defines his people by where they worship also. All of those are things. Now, if you're doing none of those things, he says, these things are for my people. So this is a big eye-opener here. It's unclean for me, but I can give it to the stranger? That doesn't sound right. It sounds right if you take it in the context, because he's defining his people. So if you're not his people, go ahead, do whatever you want to. Your God can tell you to do whatever you want to. Your God can tell you when to worship. Your God tells you how to worship, the way that you worship. All right? And so people are defined by who their gods are. That's why when you get to Isaiah and you see Sennacherib selling all these wolf tickets, okay, and he tells them, don't let Yahweh fool you into thinking we won't beat you. Look at all the other nations and their gods. You see, so wrong understanding about that. That's why it's so important to understand this particular Torah portion, because he opens it up. I'm setting before you life and death, blessing and cursing, and these are the criteria. Now, what you choose to do after this point is whose choice? But there will be consequences for that choice. Blessing, okay, he says, first thing, when they come out of Egypt and they're dancing and rocking the house, and Brad is rapping and Miriam and Grace are dancing and everything around, all right, shaking their tamarits, and then he goes, I am Yahweh, your physician. Obey my commandments. None of the diseases of Egypt will be upon you. Why? Because he's going to define for you what it is it takes to stay and keep healthy. But if you're not his people, disregard the following instructions. Go ahead and do whatever your God says for you to do. But if you're his, there are definite criteria. Okay? That's why changes a lot of times. When we came in, so many changes. And that is why Paul says, do not let anyone judge you about your Sabbath days and your meats. Only the people of God. He's not talking about any God. No one who is a pagan is to judge you because of the changes you make. The only one that judges you are the people of the same household of God. Why? Because the word judges what you are supposed to do. You don't allow outside. I don't care what anyone thinks about why we have a service on the Sabbath day. I was at a conference last week. You going to be here Saturday? And I wish Dorian was here, because she sees me put on an emoji face. Because you all know I don't go to conferences on Saturday. All right? That's just my conviction. I did at first, but now I don't have to go there on Saturdays. So that's why we have service on Sabbath. Sabbath is his day. Okay? Now Sunday, or Friday, Thursday and Friday I was there. But Saturday, this is his day. Because guess what? God will do things with his people on this day that he doesn't do on other days. Why do you think people, when they knew Yeshua was in the house on the Sabbath day, they came running? Because they knew something that couldn't get done before was going to be done on the Sabbath day. That's why you come and you gather together on his holy day. Because the works that get done in your life are because of him and him alone. Things you can't do for yourself are things he does for you on this day of rest. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He is the Lord of the Sabbath. Okay. So that is why when we come together, James says that the Gentiles who are coming into the faith are going to come into the synagogue on Sabbath day where Moses is read, so that they will get all of this and they will know how to enter into the body of Messiah. Amen. His body. Okay? So we more or less finish up chapter 15. He talks about the year of release. Hallelujah. Every 7th year you shall practice remission of debts. This shall be the nature of the remission. Every creditor shall remit the due that he claims from his fellow. He shall not dun his fellow or kinsman, for the remission proclaimed is of Yahweh. Now, let me tell you something. This is a point we have to get to. We go on and take out 30-year mortgages, okay, 15-year mortgages, and all of that. No, 7 years, year of release. Okay, a year of release. We were never supposed to go past debts after 7 years, but guess who? We didn't know that. We didn't know that. So this is the prayer once again, okay, that we, have to pray. There is a year of release, okay, for everyone. What if we are one nation under God, right? How come we don't do this? Oh, that's right. We pray to our God, okay? And this is theirs, okay? This is supposed to be what they do in the land of Israel. You go to Jeremiah. We were there on Thursday, Jeremiah 34. Where they proclaimed a year of release and they set the captives free. Even the slaves, after 7 years, were supposed to be set free, and they weren't supposed to go away empty-handed. Okay, they were supposed to be set free. And let me tell you something. This was one of the big things why certain people came marching into a certain city last week, because not only were they taking down those abominations, and I don't care who hears me say it's an abomination, but they had approved to give them reparations also. A lot of people didn't know about the reparation part, okay? Because reparations, you start giving reparations to the descendants of those who were slaves. Guess what it says, Miss Lawyer? It sets a precedence, doesn't it? I can now quote that this is going on, so therefore it should go on throughout. Let me tell you, everywhere one of those statutes is, we ought to be protesting, where are my reparations? Come on. Because if we're one nation under God, the Bible said 7 years, and do not release them empty-handed. And when they reneged on that promise, in Jeremiah 34, Yah allowed their enemy to come in and take them away, which is the biggest problem that we are having today. Remember, the Israelites in the Bible were set free by God. There was no going back for that. The people over here that were slaves were set free by a law of man. And we know based upon man's law, it changes like they want to change their underwear, okay, when it gets convenient. And what you have to watch out for is when people start reversing freedoms that they passed a law to give you. So they're not going to tell you we're going to make you slaves again, but we're just going to change the voting laws. We're going to change the education laws. We're going to change the housing laws. And guess what? Get ready, because the same things that you did being one nation under God, God is going to respond in the same fashion that he does to any nation that declares he is their God, okay, and says that his constitution, the 10 Commandments, is the constitution that this nation was founded under. And that's why we are his witnesses. Because we see these things going on, And people are wondering why the floods. Why? Hey, you talk about terrorists. How do you deal when Yahweh himself is the terrorist? You can stand up in front of that Category 5 tornado if you want and wake up. Are you the good witch or the bad witch? Let me click my heel 3 times and get back to Tampa. Okay? But we see all of these things, earthquakes in diverse places, crazy storms. We have icebergs the size of states dropping off. And that's a big danger if you're shipping. Ask a little ship called the Titanic. Okay? An ice cube. All God did was throw an ice cube in the ocean. Okay? So these things, guys, God is saying, he's giving us, once again, these are the criteria. These are the laws that I want you to obey. And when you obey them and you do it right, you get a blessing. So that blessing, let me tell you something. When you are obedient and your enemy comes before you, you can go to God and call him into remembrance. All right? And watch how he takes charge of that situation. But if we have greasy grace and sloppy agape, it's not going to work. The only thing God will give you is mercy. And mercy lessens consequences. He's a merciful God. But his mercy does not obliterate consequences for our disobedience. It may lessen. Instead of getting the needle, you get a life sentence. Maybe mercy would have been giving the needle and getting it over with. Okay. But then again, mercy says, maybe if you're declaring you're innocent, and we see that a lot of times, that innocent people do get convicted, okay, of crimes they did not commit. So mercy can be until someone finds the evidence or whatsoever. So you never stop crying out for mercy. America, we are asking God for mercy, but there is a time when the scales of justice or judgment and mercy must be balanced. God cannot be a merciful God without being a just.
Telephone is halfway on the.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
And wanted to flip off.
All right. He cannot be a merciful God unless he is a just God. Okay. And so when the scales begin to tip up, okay, we need to be prepared because God has been very merciful to us. All right. Lord, we have not obeyed your commandments, even though we said we were one nation under God, our Creator. Because our Constitution begins that all men, okay, have rights that have been endowed to them by who? Their Creator. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the foundation our Constitution is on. But we are under a higher Constitution, and that is this word. Okay? That is why when they do the Pledge of Allegiance, and you know, I put my hand over my heart. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb and the United Kingdom of Yahweh and to his Torah for which he stands. One nation under Yah, individual with salvation, redemption, and deliverance for all. That is the allegiance that we pledge to with the Torah. Amen. All right, you still love me? Did I make anybody mad? Okay, not too mad. All right, who do we have online? Star 6.
You want to hook up your Bluetooth?
Oh yeah, hook up the Bluetooth.
Yeah,
just turn it on.
Yeah.
All right, Star 6. All right, who do we have online? Well, let me make sure I'm still paired up here. Bluetooth, flip connected. All right.
You're paired up. I was waiting for someone else.
Oh, that's wrong thing. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Says we're connected. Okay. Hold on, Brad. Brad is it says I thought.
Yeah,
It says it's connected. All right. Who was that? Katrina?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't know why we're not coming out through the speaker, but all right. You got anything to say?
What I have to say is, I just thank you so much for this revelation. I'm going to go back over it about 5 people told me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hallelujah.
All right.
And everything makes sense now from the 2007 to 2017 right now. I'm getting the light bulbs coming on. He's giving me a whole lot. He's giving me revelation.
All right.
I thank you for that. Hallelujah.
All right. Good, good. You have to give me a call later and tell me what that revelation is.
Yes, ma'am, I will. I will definitely do that.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're supposed to call tomorrow anyway.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
All right. Katrina's going to school to be a medical coder. Okay, she's going to be a medical coder, and she's going to be joining the team. Okay, I think tomorrow. Okay, only because we put her off, but tomorrow. So we have a lot of good things going on. All right, Katrina Renee's with her parents, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I think she's with her parents today. Stephanie, are you still?
I'll see her around 12. We'll get on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Who else do we have online?
Martha's online.
Hey, Marcia, how's the temperature in Georgia?
Oh, it's pretty steamy out here. In the early or 90s. 91.
Are you sitting out in the sun, sunbathing?
Oh no, I'll do that probably when the sun goes down.
All right. All right. Give Daniel my regards.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Who else do we have online? *6. Stephanie, you still on? Margaret, you on? No? Okay. Well, we'll close out. I know you're there. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you his shalom in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Shalom, shalom. Hallelujah.
To stop conference recording, press 1. To return to the conference, this session is no longer being recorded.
All right, guys. There we go. All right, do I have somebody to barbecue some hamburgers and hot dogs?
Ed and I work together.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to work the gas grill, so you have to get that fired up.
You can't get out of that one, Ed.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you so much.